Assalamualaikum and a very good day, everyone. Today we are going to present on our product, which is the TikTok water clock for our asynchronous class activities. My group member is Wanazi Haliana, Vashnuvi, Praveen, and me, Izati. Now I'm going to present on the some product summary of our TikTok water clock. So first of all, for our chemical composition, for the chemical composition of our electrodes, which are the aluminium and copper wire, the aluminium is a pure aluminium and copper wire is also the chemical composition is copper. While the electrolyte, we use Mr. Muscle Drain Declogger. So the chemical composition present in the electrolyte is the sodium hypochlorite, water, alkyl dimethyl, amine and oxide, sodium hydroxide, sodium silicate, lauric acid, and potassium hydroxide. The physical geometry of our electrodes for the aluminium, we have rectangular. For the copper wire, it is cylindrical. Okay, there are for the chemical reactions, the main reaction for our voltaic cell, aluminium will undergo oxidation at the anode, while copper will undergo reduction at the cathode. Okay, and then these are the chemical reaction, the chemical equation. So this is overall equation for the main reaction. And then for the possible side reaction, hydroxide will undergo oxidation at the anode, while water will undergo reduction at the cathode. So this is our chemical equation. So the thermodynamic properties involved in this voltaic cell is Gibbs free energy, internal energy, and specific heat capacity. So this is the central attributes for our TikTok water clock voltaic cell. So we have type of cell, reactive electrodes, highly conductive electrolyte, and environmental friendly materials. For the type of cell, we are using voltaic cell, which it converts chemical energy to electrical energy through chemical reaction, and it is also spontaneous reaction. And then for the reactive electrodes, the purpose of electrode is to transfer electrons from one half cell to another, which will generate an electrical charge. The electrode must be highly reactive, by having a high cell potential. And then for the highly conductive electrolyte, the conductivity of the electrolyte is dependent on the concentration of the ions in the solution. For our electrolyte, which is the Mr. Muscle Drain Declogger, it is highly conductive as it has high concentration of sodium ions, chloride ions, potassium ions, and other ions present in the solution. Next, we are using the recycle for the environmental friendly materials. We are using the recyclable materials for our product components. These materials can help to solve waste disposal problem.
Okay, so next I will explain on structural attributes. Structural attributes refer to the characteristic or quality of structure of a product that can be used to distinguish from others. There is a few of structural attributes for our product. First is the digital clock, second is the location of the clock, third is the shape and size of the clock holder, the location of the electrolyte container, the shape of electrolyte container, and anti-spill container. So I pass to the next presenter.
So the next one is the processing parameters affecting the product equilibrium. We have four processing parameters that will affect our product equilibrium, which are the concentration of the electrolyte, fluctuation of voltage and current during the process, rate of ion transfer within the system, and also temperature of the electrolyte. Okay, now I'm going to pass the presentation to
Okay, so next we'll be looking at the dominant key rate processes when it comes to manufacturing our TikTok water clock. The first one is the production and the procurement of the electrolyte use, which in our case is the Mr. Muscle drain declogger. The second one is the production of the digital clock unit itself, which is the unit that will eventually show the time. And the last one is the assembly of the final product. Next slide, please.
So next is the possible chemical triggers. So the chemical triggers would be the type of electrolyte we use and the type of electrode that we use. So electrolytes, electrolysis, it depends on the following factors such as electrodes, conductivity, and the electrolytic solution and the distance between the two electrodes that we use. Next is the electrode. The electrodes, the discharge of ions during the electrolysis can be influenced by the type of electrodes. Next.
Okay, so next is the scale up process for our production. First, we can scale up our process by attract more investor. The investor will help in the financial supports and the idea for the improvement. Next, we can increase the production by produce a mass production. The production of the recyclable material and electrolyte can be increased. The third one is the quality. We can improve the quality of the clock holder and the electrolyte container. This can reduce the potential of failure in our production. And the last one is using a high technology. For example, the packing process and also polishing machine for electrode. This can make the process faster. So next. Okay, for the scale down of our production, we can reduce the production first by control the polishing process of electrode. When a lot of electrode being polished without being sold to the customer, it can cause a low quality of water clock. And next, we can scale down by using microstructure of electrode. Microstructure of electrode is smaller size with gives a faster reaction. Less amount of electrolyte will be used for this scale down process. So I will pass to the next presenter.
Next is the environmental features where we are reusing wire cable, which is the wire cable containing copper is a reusable material from unused electric appliances. Next is the sustainable thread which made of cotton. The cotton thread used as a bridge to have a conducting liquid able to pass from beaker to beaker without changing the concentration of the iron very much. Next is the recyclable soap container. Making soap container as the body of the clock which can reduce the waste production. And finally reusing the aluminum can which use the can to make an electrode by polishing it with a sandpaper. Next, safety features. Mr. Muscle Drain Declogger is safe to be used as an electrolyte because there is no addition with other substance. Next, the clock required low voltage to be function. And finally, the current produced is low, which is safe for people who want to learn at home. Next. So next is the final specification. So here are the product that we used in this project, where the first is Mr. Muscle Drain Declogger, used wire cable, soap container, and liquid container. Next is the thick thread cotton and aluminum can. And finally is the digital clock. Next.
Okay, so I will explain on the pattern table. So for the pattern table, we did research on the copper-based flow battery and also the digital clock. For the copper-based flow battery, from the pattern itself, it shows that they use an electrode of copper and then the electrolyte of copper chloride. So here is the patent number from European Patent Office, and this product is cannot be patent. So the first segment is the digital clock. We are using a digital clock with electronic control in the changing of number. It is patented by United States, and this product also cannot be patent. So next. Okay, so this is our product, which is the digital clock with the copper-based flow battery. So for our process, we are using two types of electrode, which is the first one is copper with the weight of 0.348 gram. The shape is cylindrical. And then the second electrode is the aluminum electrode. The weight of the aluminum electrode is 0.11188 gram and the shape is rectangular. For the electrolyte, we are using Mr. Muscle Drain Declogger. For the clock shape, it is rectangular with the length of 7 cm, the width of 4 cm, and the height of 1.3 cm. This digital clock with copper-based flow battery can be patented because there is no product as this by using a recyclable material in the market. So next slide. For the similarity of the TikTok water clock and the existing clock, both having positive and negative terminal, both have long battery cell lifetime. And then for the novelty, the TikTok water clock is made up of recyclable material, which is good for the environment, and we're able to do it at our own house. So I'll pass to the next person.
Okay, so now we'll be taking a look at the house of quality diagram. So by using the house of quality diagram, we can actually relate our product specifications to the consumer needs. So the latitudinal columns are the consumer needs and the longitudinal columns are the product specifications. So the triangle on the top, we can see positive and negative signs, and this is to indicate a correlation matrix between the product specification. For example, cost of production and replaceable parts, it has a negative sign, which is because if we have replaceable parts, then the cost of production will be higher. The arrows on top of the product specification, they indicate what value of number is desired. So, for example, cost of production, the arrow faces down, showing that we desire a lower value, and for expected life, it's an arrow showing up, indicating that we desire a higher value. Now, for the relationship between the product specification and the consumer needs, we mark it with a circle with a dot for strong, a circle for medium, and a triangle for weak. So by using that, we can get the importance rating at the bottom. So the importance rating shows which product specification should be more important, which one we should focus on based on the consumer needs, and the percentage is just an easier indicator to show how the important ratings match to each other. Next slide, please. So next we'll be taking a look at the life cycle analysis for our product. So the top row is all the raw materials that we use. So for example, the copper for the wires, aluminum electrodes, the drain declogger, and the clock holder are raw materials. So the raw materials that require processing and or machining are the aluminum electrodes and copper for the wires. And after the processing and machining stage, they will enter assembly along with the electrolyte and the clock holder, and with some energy input, which is our commodities, we will have our final product, which the byproduct would be waste. So in order to minimize the waste produced, we reuse and recycle whatever we can back into the processing part, where it can be assembled and made into the final product. That's all for our presentation today. I hope you learned a bit more about our TikTok water clock, and thank you for listening.